let's get right to the first update, Technology Council. So the testnet is operational. The Explorer deployment and branding is in progress. I expect that to happen any day, like in hours perhaps. And we are committed to having the repos now public and available to you. Here's the URL for the current repo. I'll be going over that also with you. But let me stop right there and actually just dive right into showing you the code and showing you the console for the running nodes, and also add some wallets and look at some things like that. So I'm going to get out of full screen mode here, and I'm going to switch right away to the repo. So let me go ahead and first go to the root here. All right, so if you go to the repo, let me zoom in a bit here also so it's clear. So what we did was we took a more recent snapshot of the Go Ethereum code, and we updated that with all our changes. So the changes are quite pervasive, but I like to draw your attention to one folder here called Rebase. So this has a module here that is our primary changes that have been made. So let's look at it in raw mode here. Well, actually, the raw doesn't have the color coding, so we'll leave that up here. But I'll zoom in some more. But basically, this is the main Rebase code. And you can see, well, the developers among you can see that there is processing, etc., going on around transaction counts. So that, like this epoch transactions, that's the counting of the transactions in the within the last epoch, which is 17,000 blocks. And then based upon that, there is a rebase that occurs or doesn't occur. Now, I don't expect to go through this code. This is not a developer presentation, but we can certainly do that someday. But essentially, you can see here that there's a conditional that if the transaction ratio exceeds 75%, which is our range, right? Our range is 25% below 100 and 25% above 100 is the range. And that's when rebasing occurs. So you can see that code here. Now, the way we achieve that, this is actually quite interesting. Earlier, we were thinking that we would be able to just use a lookup table, etc. But because it's dynamic, we can't do that, right? What we need to do is to be able to look back at the past 17,000 blocks and determine what all the transactions were, like count them out. Now, initially, we were just trying to do it on the fly, like each block, or that's a rebasing, epoch block, to count the past 17,280 blocks. But that turned out to be, from a performance standpoint, a terrible nightmare. It was too slow. And so we've actually modified the core Ethereum here, the blocks actually, to create new fields in the block header. Let me show you. So I'm going to search for the file block.go, which is right here. Okay, let's zoom this in a little bit. And I want to show you that here, these here are the standard Ethereum fields, the ones I've highlighted. What we've added to the blocks are 5 fields, which essentially tell you which epoch it is going on, how many transactions have been accumulated in that epoch as of that block. Then what is the rebasing index? What is the rebasing epoch? Because there might be times when an epoch occurs, but because we fail to meet the transactional goals, an epoch a rebase doesn't occur. So we track that separately. And guess what? One of the big challenges for a rebasing protocol is, what is the current circulating supply? Well, that's always very iffy to get. We decided, why not just build it right into the block header? So at any given point in the history of the blockchain, you can look at a block and you can see what the supply was at that particular block. So I'm sure the developers among you are going to go through this and look at all of that. As I said, my intent was to just highlight the fact that the code is now there for you to look at, and also some of the high level changes. But what I want to do is actually show you the protocol in action. So for that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring my console window here, and I'm going to connect live to the remote running server. Now, I typed in these commands earlier because I would forget them. So here we go. I'm going to SSH. So SSH just means remotely connect. Let me zoom that in so you can see that a little better. So we're going to do that. And here we are. So we are now connected to the remote node, actually, the validator node. So I'm gonna change to this folder here, cd node rpc. I'm there, and then I'm gonna do tail -f no hub. This is just Unix standard Linux commands. But here we go. What we are doing now is we are looking at a live snapshot of the validator, and you will see that it's basically got the same header fields that I was talking about. They're kind of visible here in the console because we are printing them out to the log. Now, I'll keep this open here for a second, and we'll get back to it. But what I wanted to also show you is, typically when you have a protocol like this and you launch it, you have a Genesis file. Our Genesis file is not yet ready, and you're going to have a chance actually to look at it and to approve it. So what we have right now is a very simple Genesis file, and what we have in here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 accounts, and we've kind of distributed the tokens among them to add up to sort of 50 million, which is what our eventual total is. So what I thought I would do is live here, I would connect to the testnet and add these accounts, and we would see them rebasing as we see the console also. So what I have here is the Ethereum mainnet here on this. This is a brand new MetaMask. I haven't done anything. I'm going to show you how I can go ahead and connect to our test RPC on testnet and get that going. So let's do that. Let's go add network, and I need to go here and say add a network manually. So let's call this the Vitruvio testnet. The RPC URL, which I have memorized, is test-rpc.vitruvio.xyz. The chain ID is 14333. The currency symbol is VTRU. The Explorer is not yet live, so I won't put that in, but I can hit save, and boom, we are now connected to that. So hit save. Obviously, the account I have on my MetaMask has no Vitrus to it because it's not one of the accounts that are in the Genesis here. So let's add one of these accounts. So I am going to grab the private key for that, and let's go ahead and say import account, paste the private key, and there we have it. So this is account AD5 ending in BE92. So wrong tab. So that's 85 ending in BE92. That's that account. And the initial balance was 20 million, but you can see here that it's climbed quite a bit. Now, that's because it's rebasing. In testnet, right now, the very first release that we put out there, we have highly accelerated rebasing. We have actually rebasing occurring every 25 seconds. So, and let's get back to my console here, and this will make a little more sense here. But you can see it says sometimes rebasing skipped, and sometimes it probably, let's see where, it should show sometimes that the rebasing occurred. So what we are doing is we are having a random sort of number of transactions being thrown at it, and sometimes the rebasing is skipped, and sometimes the rebasing happens. And it's been running for a while now. You can see that we are at epoch 1328. So this account has basically rebased significantly because of the accelerated time frame that we've put on the rebasing. So similar to that, I can add other accounts also. Let's just add one more account. Import account. Let me grab the private key of it and put that in there. And here we go. So this one is 4D4 ending in 0099. So which one is that one? That's the second one here. So that has 7.5 million Vitrus in it initially, and now it's at 13. So you're seeing what would be the accelerated rebasing in, like, I don't know, two or 3 years here happening in a very short amount of time. So what we're going to do now is this is our first sort of testnet that we are releasing out there. We're going to do a couple of updates to it. Then we're going to have the faucet, so you can also start testing it. Right now, you can probably connect to it, but because you don't have the private keys for these accounts, you won't be able to do much. but give us a day or two. We will probably update it again, and you're going to have your faucet, and you're going to be able to also do exactly what I did here. So exciting news. We have testnet up and running, and from here it's a very short journey to mainnet RC1. We have to test, and do some more testing, some minor changes which I'm going to talk about here later. But we are there, folks. We are there. The infrastructure is being deployed, and everything is looking good. Let me get back to my presentation now. All right. So this was a major milestone for us, and September 22nd, 10 a.m. Yep. Let's keep that in mind. Okay, so that's the Technology Council update. There's a lot of other things they're also working on, which I will get into shortly. But here we go.